In McClock v. Maryland, Maryland, the state, put a law forth that taxed all banks that were operating unchartered in the state. This prohibited banks from issuing banknotes upon anything other than the stamped paper issued by the state. Anyone who violated this law would endure penalties. A cashier at the Baltimore branch of the Bank of the United States, McCulloch, issued banknotes disregarding the Maryland statute. Maryland then sued for failing to pay the tax due. McCulloch decided to test the constitutionality of the act. Once brought up to the Supreme Court, they made the decision in favor of McCulloch, stating that under the Necessary and Proper Clause, Congress was given the power to establish a national bank under implied powers under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. This court case gave power to the federal government and took power from the states. It emphasizes the Supremacy Clause in Article 6, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution that establishes the U.S. Constitution, federal statutes, and U.S. treaties as the supreme law of the land. Another important court case to know is Brown v. the Board of Education. In this court case, several African American children sought admission to public schools that required or permitted segregation based on race. This was permitted and constitutional under the separate but equal doctrine established in Plessy v. Ferguson. Brown argued that segregation was unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. He stated that segregated schools were not and could not be made equal, and that they were therefore deprived of the equal protection of the laws. The courts agreed with him, and the precedent of separate but equal in Plessy v. Ferguson was overturned. This was a huge leap for African Americans and the Civil Rights era. Our last court case is Miranda v. Arizona. In the case, Ernesto Miranda was arrested by Phoenix police for kidnapping and raping a woman. He was questioned for 2 hours by police without a lawyer present. After leaving the interrogation room, Miranda had signed and written a confession. The officers testified in court that they did not inform Miranda of his right to counsel. The confession statement that he wrote was then used against Miranda in the trial, and he was found guilty in both kidnap and rape, to which he received 20 to 30 years in jail. The police did not notify Miranda of his rights, and the justices voted that since Miranda was not aware of the Fifth Amendment, which protects against self-incrimination, the statements could not be used against him. Police officers to this day now carry with them Miranda warnings. This is when they say, "You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the state." This protects every citizen from self-incrimination.